Hey gang, Uncle Todd here, and we're up to episode 3 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And this one centers on La'an Noonan Singh, head of Star Enterprise Security. And after a few comedic things of her dealing with noise complaints and their new engineer, Pelia, perchance to swipe stuff over the centuries. Favorite joke being the one about demanding the Louvre stop calling her about this one painting she has. Anyway, she comes upon a strange man who appears in the hallway dressed in 20th century clothes, having been shot by a pistol that shoots bullets. He gives her a device and says she has to stop a tragedy that is about to happen. Then he dies and he disappears. And when La'an goes to the bridge, the captain is Kirk. Spock's not there. Spock is on a Vulcan ship asking for help. But the United Earth ships, they cannot get involved. They do not want a war with the Romulans, as well as the other ones they're fighting. So he has to decline Spock's request. La'an shows up on the bridge, and nobody knows who the heck she is. And she and Kirk talk, and she explains what happened, and he is maybe giving a bit of a doubt, maybe not, but he wants the device so they can look at it. When they struggle over it, it activates, and they are transported to 21st century Earth, Canada. Kirk at first thinks they're in New York, but no, they're in Ontario. And here we get some other things that are missing from La'an's timeline. Kirk was not born on Earth in this timeline. He was born in space. He's never been to Earth. Earth is basically a vast wasteland from all the wars it fought. Thought I saw something. Must have been a dust mote. Anyway. So, after stealing some clothes, and Kirk becoming a chess hustler for them to make money, they finally decide they have to figure out what it is they need to fix for them to get back home, because the device won't let them go back. Kirk's not so sure he wants to change this timeline. He doesn't want to be erased. He might not even exist, even though La'an tells him, yes, he will exist. He won't be captain of the Enterprise, but she knows he exists because his brother Sam talks about him all the time. At which point Kirk is shocked, and we learn his brother's not alive in this timeline. So, if it's going to save his brother, he's all in. That's when a bridge explodes. One of the longest bridges constructed in the world. And La'an notices at the site of the destruction traces of a type of atomic bomb that doesn't exist yet. They also meet the acquaintance of Sarah, who lets them look at the picture she took. Wanting to follow where they're taking the debris, Kirk, using a Vulcan nerve pinch he picked up while in a prison, they steal a sports car, because of course. And after some comedy of him trying to figure out how to drive it, they give a very fast-paced chase that gets them arrested. But they again are saved by Sarah, who, through a lot of fast talking, convinces the police to let them go. Hello, Taz. And they decide to team up, and she turns out to be a conspiracy theorist who thinks aliens are trying to keep us separated so that we will not go out into the stars. And Kirk notices that one of her pictures is of a Romulan craft. Knowing that they need a tricorder so that they can hunt down the fusion reactor that is making these devices, Anne and Kirk head to Vermont, where Pela is located at this point in time. They've managed to track her down. Unfortunately, Pela is not an engineer in this timeline. She just steals art and other things. But yeah, basically, she's a fence. He needs to get down. But she does have a watch that Anne is able to configure a radiation detector using the luminous dial and stuff. So she and Kirk walk around Ontario, share a few kisses because, you know, it's Kirk. And finally locate the place where the radiation is coming from, and it is the company of Nguyen Singh. And Leanne finds that she is able to access the control pads that let you in because it's not fingerprinted, it's genetic DNA, and she is a Nguyen Singh. It is then that Sarah reappears and reveals she's a Romulan. This was all a setup to keep the humans from becoming space trafficking and Federation, everything. She's from the future too, and she was sent there to stop it. And Kirk ends up getting shot. He pulls a bluff, and she calls it. She then forces Leanne into the things of the company, where she takes him to where the child, Khan Nguyen Singh, is, where he is being augmented. And it becomes clear. The whole point of this was to kill Khan, and thus stopping the war that brought the world together against the augmenteds. The genetic war. At this point they fight, and Leanne kills Sarah, who then uses a device implanted on her to destroy her body so that she would not be discovered. Which, discover an alien body, it's going to cause the changes in the timeline they don't want. So at this point, Leanne meets the child, Khan, and gives him some comfort and leaves. And she's able to teleport back to her own time. Everything's fixed. And she then meets Agent Yamali, who is part of the Time Bureau in the Federation, which doesn't exist. I.e., it's clandestine, so nobody knows about it. She takes back the device and says she cannot tell anyone about this. It could disrupt things. And Leanne is left to come to terms with her having saved the man that has given her so much grief in her own timeline because of her heritage. And she also checks to see Kirk, who now doesn't know her, but he's also only a lieutenant. I think he said lieutenant, which is odd because I thought he was commanding a ship. No, that was in another alternate timeline thing. Yeah, that's right. He's only a lieutenant now. And that's where our episode leaves us. I always love when Trek does a time travel into the past. Especially Star Trek 4, where they saved the whale. And, the episodes with like Gary 7 and Watcher on the Edge of the Galaxy. I think Guardian of Eternity. Yeah, the Guardian. Always love those kind of episodes. I love the humor in them. Like, there is a great scene where they're trying to get clothes of that time period, and they both come out of the dressing room wearing the exact same outfit. And so Kirk goes back in, and she can see him through a gap in the screen. And she sees him take off his shirt, and okay, she turns away from it, kind of tries to calm down, and because it is Kirk. The guy who plays Kirk, he's pretty good. He's no Shatner, but, can't have Shatner anymore. Man's in his 70s. Or is he? No, 80s. Man's in his 80s now. And I just like, the little joke about the womanizing that Kirk always did. Now, I like it better here than they did with Chris Pine, where Chris Pine he bent too far into the sleaziness of it. Like in the second film, where he was told to turn around, and this female officer was changing, and he kept turning to sneak peeks. Shatner's Kirk wouldn't have done that. He'd have just turned around and been talking. He was always more of a romantic figure because it was the 60s. Couldn't have him be all pervy like Chris Pine seemed to make him. I guess that's because he was young. Anyway, really good episode. My favorite of the season so far. And I also like the stealing of the car. That was pretty funny. And their conversation during the car chase. A lot of great conversations. And it'll be interesting to see if she actually does try to pursue a romance with the Kirk of this timeline. Because it's pretty obvious she fell in love with him. So, have to see what the future holds. Please hit like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.